Hey everybody, you were watching Cadroll Hunter and we've got a box of nickels. This is episode 10 of our nickel hunt and album fill. Hi everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel Cadroll Hunter. Of course, we are trying to fill our Lighthouse Vista album here and we have 80 out of 117 spots, but we have a lot of spots, obviously in the George V years with that one lone one we've found, the 1929, but we've got a lot of spots in the 40s and the 50s that we can still fill. I'm really interested in this box. It's stamped March 31st, 2022, and it says Kenora, Ontario. And Kenora is about as far as you can get away from where I am and still be in Ontario. It is somewhere between 1,800 and 1,900 kilometers away from me, depending on how you drive. You can drive through the States or right through Ontario. Either way, it's a long trek, and if you try to do the math, that is well over 1,000 miles away. So I'm interested to see what's in this box. We're going to do a live opening because this has been sealed. It says it's from the Bank of Montreal, and so it's actually a different bank than I deal with. So I'm hoping that we've got customer wrapped rolls and very interested to see what we might get from Kenora. So it looks like our typical customer wrapped box. We've got plastic wrappers, we've got paper wrappers. Luckily, we don't have any ARP, so we're hoping we're going to find some interesting things in here. Hopefully, we're going to find some oldies for the album. We're not going to know until we get into here, so let's get cracking. First roll, we're going to have a couple of back-to-back commemoratives. The 2005 60th anniversary of the end of World War II, and this first one is a stunner. Just look at that. That's a keeper for sure. That's a great find. So I'll add that as our first find for the board. Roll number 2, we're going to have our first foreign coin. It is a US, and it is a 2017 Philadelphia. And just a couple of coins behind that one, we have a 1990. And if you watch my channel, you know that this is one of my favorite varieties to look for, the bare belly. We'll scope this and see. I see a lot of fur on that belly, so this doesn't look like it's going to be it, but we'll take a peek. Okay, we got our 1990 under the scope. We'll take a look here. And this is not the bare belly. What you're looking for, of course, is the result of an over-polished die where a lot of this area and some of this area here didn't have any of this detail left. That fur was basically polished away. This isn't it, but I found a bunch. You can definitely find them. They are out there. We've always got our eyes open for that, so that's something you can find. It's one of my favorites, absolutely. Same roll, we got another one. It's our second shot. Let's take a peek. Throw it up under the scope, and this is definitely not it either. Roll number 3, I got a 1980 under the scope. Here we're looking for what is called the double date, and it typically looks as though the date is wider, and this one appears like it might have a little bit of machine doubling, or it might just be shadows. I thought I saw some extra lines beside the 9 in the end there, but I think it's just a shadow. You've got to be really careful when you're having different light sources if it's just casting a shadow. I like to just turn them around just to see if it's not a shadow, then that doubling will sort of persist. But this is not it. It's just going to go in the nickel cup. Another contribution to the cause. Roll number 5, and we've got our second US nickel of the hunt. This one is a 2000 out of Philadelphia. I'm in roll number 6. I've got a 1977 under the scope. Well, 2 of them there, as you can see. I found one just now and one earlier, and I thought I would compare the 2 of them. I've got them under the scope here, because of course there is the high 7 and the low 7 variety, and I've got one of each here. This one on the top is the low 7. Now this 7 here is really just slightly lower than the 7 on the left, and the one below it is the high 7, where that 7 is just slightly above it. It's an interesting variety. Neither of them are scarce. I find them pretty much evenly distributed. Roll 7, this is going to be our 4th American, and I noticed that every coin in this roll has some kind of residue on it. They're kind of chalky. I don't know what that's all about. It looked like they were almost like submerged in water. This is a 1977. It might be in good shape, but I can't really tell because it's covered in this residue. And it looks like it would come off if I wanted to try, but you can see they're all covered in that, and there's some that even have some little rusty bits. So it almost seems as though these ones all got wet or something with some kind of a calcium deposit or something like that, and some rust. Okay, I'm in roll number 9. I have got another 1990 under the scope. Let's see what I can see here. So looking at this, I think what we've got here is one of the earlier stages of that dye deterioration. This area here doesn't show all of the characteristic fur, and I think this is just early stage bare belly. It is not as extensive or as noticeable as some of the really dramatic examples where you can really see most of this area bare. But I think this is technically a bare belly. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to keep this one. It's not, like I said, it's not as dramatic as some others we've seen before that I've shared on my channel. We're in roll number 10, and we have our first 1950s find. It's a 12-sided 1955, and I missed it by the edge. That's a great find. I'm not sure if we have this one or not. It's pretty worn and pretty circulated, but that's a 1950s Laureate portrait nickel in the hunt. Roll number 15, we got a nice looking 1975. Our 70s are starting to look pretty good, so this might not upgrade, but I'm not 100% certain, so we'll set it aside for now and we'll take a look. I also have a 1965 under the scope, and of course, we're always looking at the 1965s to see if we found a rare large bead variety. And how that would look would be one large bead right in the middle between these two eyes for Elizabeth II. But we don't have that here. This is the small bead variety. So we just always want to look to see. They're quite valuable if you can find them. And I've never found one, but I'm going to keep looking. Roll number 18, and we found ourselves a low mint 1991. This is, I'd consider this a semi-key date. It's minted at 10.9 million, so significantly lower than any others in and around this time period. But that's a pretty nice looking 1991. Only 10.9 million minted. Roll number 19, and I can see that we're going to have our second Laureate portrait just sitting back here. We've got a 1964, and there is our friend Queen Elizabeth II. It doesn't appear to be the extra water line, but we'll just check it under the scope just to be sure. And what we're looking for, of course, is a die crack that's going to go right from the log here over across the designer's initials towards the rim. We don't have that here, but that's what we want to be looking for on our 1964s. But this is a Laureate portrait find for the board no matter what, and so we'll take it. Roll number 24, and we found an older Jefferson Nickel. It's a 1960. We're going to have to flip it over to see if it's got a mint mark on it. And this one does. It's out of Denver. This is our 12th American nickel, and it is our oldest one. And we can see that this one is a little tiny bit off center. There's almost no rim down on the sort of bottom left-hand corner, and it's a lot thicker on the right. If we flip it over, we see it's actually the same on the other side as well. So an interesting find. It's our oldest American of the hunt, a 1960 Denver. Roll number 24, and we got a pretty dark edge there. Not exactly sure what that was, but it's just a modern Canadian nickel with a whole lot of environmental damage probably. Same roll, we got a pretty shiny looking nickel here, and this one is from 1973. We'll definitely check against our album to see if this one might possibly upgrade. We're at the halfway point, roll 25, and we're going to find something here because we have a 12-sided edge. It's the third coin in, and it's another 50s nickel. It's a 1959 Queen Elizabeth II Laureate portrait. Not too bad condition, so maybe this is an upgrader. I think we have this one, but we'll find out. Roll 26 gives us a pretty nice looking 1981. We'll also check against the album and see if this might be a bit of an upgrader. And speaking of nice coins, here's a pretty nice looking 1965. We'll want to check this one against the album, but we'll also want to check and see if this might be that elusive large bead. Let's put it under the scope and see. Well, once again, it appears we have the normal small bead variety. Just the way these beads line up, they're smaller than the large bead, and we'd be looking for that large bead right in between those two eyes. Roll number 28, and we've got another find here, and it's going to be either a 1963 or a 1964, and we know that for sure because it has a rounded edge. It doesn't have the 12-sided edge that all of the other years of the Laureate portrait nickels had. So we'll flip it and see what we got here. It is a 1963. It's our first 63 of the hunt. And in the same roll, I just about did a double take because I saw the US edge behind there, but this is a really gorgeous looking 1955. And look at how great that condition is. And we'll flip it over. And it's a Denver mint mark. It's a 1955 Denver. We'll just take a little closer look at that. Well, there you have it, a 1950s Jefferson Nickel in our Canadian hunt, and a gorgeous one at that with lots of detail. That's an amazing find. Roll number 29, in addition to 4 more US nickels, the oldest one being in 1982, we've got a 2017 commemorative. This is 150 years of Confederation with that stylized beaver. So that's the sesquicentennial. And it's got a bit of circulation on it. I'll put it aside. It might be all right, but we got a few more coins to go through here, and I'm just hoping we're going to find some more old stuff. Roll 31, we've encountered some more US nickels. This one looks to be a bit of a nice strike, an older design. We'll see what this one is. It's just a 1986 Philadelphia, but it's a really nice one, and I'll check against my own collection. And there's a few more in here. We're getting close to 20. I thought I saw another US edge in here somewhere. Yeah, a little closer. It looks like a 97. So we're getting exactly what we expect we might get. Being so close to the United States, we get lots of American nickels. And who knows, maybe we'll find another oldie like that beautiful 1955P that we see right there. Roll 32, we got a better than average 79. We'll check that against the album and see if that might upgrade. Same roll, looks like we've got another older Jefferson design. We'll take a peek and see what this is. It's a Denver mint, so we know it's an older one with the mint mark beside the Monticello. We'll flip it, and it's a 1961. So roll number 35 has contained a bunch of older, like some 80s and some 70s and a couple 60s. I haven't shown you, but here's one that looks like it's in pretty nice shape. It's a 1981. Might set it aside just to see if it upgrades. I'm not sure what our 81 in the album looks like, but you can see there's a bunch of other coins, some 80s, 83, and look at that. I didn't know that was there, but we've got a 1964. It's not the extra water line. And then behind that, a 65 that we can check to see if it's the large bead or small bead. And here it is under the scope, and it's definitely the regular small bead variety. And just a couple coins later, we've got another Laureate portrait. This one is another 64, also not the extra water line. And we keep finding some nice ones. So here's a 1977 low 7. We'll also compare. Roll number 35, I've just got it laid out. Before I even get into this, I just thought I'd give a really quick shout out to one of my new subscribers, PA Coin Roll Hunter. Check out his channel. Why I wanted to do that, he's only 10 years old. He's posting videos of coin roll hunts and what he's got in his collection. And so just show him a bit of love if you want to go check out his channel. I've got a link in the video description below for PA Coin Roll Hunter. Reminds me a lot of myself. I was about that age when I got into coins. You know, just like to encourage young folks who get into the hobby early. So go check out PA Coin Roll Hunter and see his videos. Well, here we are still in roll 35, and I think we're going to have another one here. Yep, another Laureate portrait. This one, another 1964. So again, we'll just put that one under the scope. And there it is. This is just a normal water line. We're not seeing that die crack there that we might see. Although it looks like I can almost see a little bit of an impression here. It's probably just some damage. But I wonder if, you know, that's what the earliest stage of a die crack might look like, but not likely. But anyway, that's something we're always looking for. Roll 47, we got another 1964. And again, not the extra water line. Roll 39, and we're going to have a really gorgeous 1964. Now, all of these coins have some kind of like a dust on them, so I probably just need to sort of blow this off. But you can see that this coin is in excellent condition with lots of detail, and it almost has a polished look about it. I doubt it's actually been polished. This absolutely could be an upgrader, not the extra water line. And I'm encouraged this 1978 behind it. You can see that fine dust all over these coins. This also looks like it's in pretty nice shape as well. It's got some circulation, some scratches, but we'll just hold that aside and just check against the album. We'll see what else we've got in here. I see some American edges, and that one looks like it could be older. There's some more older edges, so we'll see. And that American edge just looks to be a 72 Denver, not in great condition. And a little further back, a really nice 1974. Now this one also looks to be, it's a little bit off center. You can see a wider rim on the left than on the right, which is really strange. Uncommon, I think, in Canadian coins. I don't often see that. I see it more often in American ones, but we'll check that against the album. She's got a couple gouges on her, but we'll see if we can upgrade it all. I got roll number 40 here, and it stands out for a couple reasons. One, we got a bunch of dirty edges. That always makes me interested to see if it might be something older. And check out the top. We're going to have a dirty looking dime in there too, so that's interesting. And a dirty dime it is indeed. I almost feel like I should put on gloves for that. So we got a dime. It's got all sorts of gunk on it. It's just a 2005, so nothing special. We'll set that aside on our drawing board of finds. And the rest of this roll also looks pretty dirty as well. And we've got some Americans in there as well. So we'll see if any of these are interesting. So there wasn't anything terribly interesting in the rest of that roll, but just as I was about to reach to get roll number 41 on the left there, I noticed the very last roll in here has got a whole whack of mangled coins. So that's interesting. I don't know what that's all about. It looks doubtful that there might actually be 40 in there, but we'll find it when we get there. I just came across this Jefferson Nickel and flipped it over, and check it out, a 1940. It's got some kind of gunk on it, but it's actually in pretty good condition. The detail and the strike look really good. That's an awesome find. That's our oldest find of the hunt, a 1940 US Jefferson Nickel. An unlikely find in a coin roll hunt of Canadian nickels. Same roll, and for a moment I thought we had a colorized nickel. It had the look of those commemorative blue nose with the blue on the bottom of them. Instead, it looks like it's some kind of colored fluff attached to it. Oh well. Roll number 43. Yeah, 43. And we've got a 2021 Philadelphia. I don't think I've got a 2021 US coin in my collection yet, so I'm happy to add that. Roll 44, and we're going to have a couple finds in here. There's another really nice 1964 Laureate portrait here. Again, not the extra water line, but that is just a beauty. And behind that, I could see here a 12-sided edge that I didn't initially see when I flattened it out. And it's a 1956, so we've got another early Elizabeth. And another one I didn't even see as I was pulling out that 56. It's going to be another 63 or 64. And we're going to see just now, that's another 64. So we found a ton of 1964s in here. That's just crazy. I've just pulled up our 1998 from roll number 45. And I'm only showing this to you because now there's no mint mark on here. This coin was also minted in Winnipeg with a W mint mark. Those weren't intended for circulation. And you can see the Queen's portrait is heavily worn away, which is uncharacteristic. But I thought I'd bring you in because the edge looked interesting. I thought for a moment this was maybe a foreign coin with a worn down reeded edge. You can see it's very rough. Looking at the Queen's portrait, I think what's happened here is this coin has actually just been manipulated by somebody. It's been sort of ground down or something. But that edge compared to the very smooth edges of the other coins looked very different. So again, just something, I think this is post-mint damage. It weighs up true at 4.63 grams, which is what we would expect. So I just think it's a normal 1998 that's had some kind of post-mint damage. Same roll, and we got another Laureate portrait here that I missed by the edge, another 12-sided coin. We'll see what this one is. It's a 1959. That's our second 1959 of the hunt. Roll 47, we got a gorgeous 1969 here to add to our hunt and possibly to upgrade our album. Roll number 48, and we've got what will be our 35th US nickel This is a 1989 out of Denver, so nothing very special about that one, but it won't be our last because I can see some other American edges in here, so we've definitely got some more. And the next one's going to be a 1964, this one out of Denver, and a pretty nice looking one at that. Roll number 49, we've got another older American nickel, and we know it's older because the mint mark is to the right of the Monticello building, whereas newer ones, it's on the obverse. We'll flip it over and see what we've got. It's another 1964 Denver. And so this is roll number 50. This is perhaps the craziest roll of nickels I have ever seen. There are some in here that are mangled and chewed up. It's unfortunate because if we found anything older, it's going to be destroyed potentially. There are a few that are not mangled, but this is going to be an interesting one for sure. Okay, I just laid it out. I have no idea what has happened to these coins. They look to be mostly chewed up. Like this here is a 2012 that's been damaged. I would have to think that these were all done intentionally by the same person because they're all like that. But look, right in here, we've got an older one. And it is another 1964, and it is not damaged. Also not the extra water line. So despite that damage, we've got a find in this roll, and who knows what else we might see in here. Some of these have just been completely destroyed. You can see this 2007 has been, just the whole thing has been mangled. It's bent. The same thing with this next one here. This 2009. So I'm not sure what somebody was doing with these, but these ones are just in really rough shape. So we've finished hunting that box from Kenora, and it was a really fun hunt. We found lots of great stuff. First of all, the nickel cup was half full. That is just great. That's probably like more than, that could be 2 or 3 rolls of nickel right there. Not to mention all of the nickel in the finds on our board, and we got a lot of them. First of all, we got 40 US nickels, so these stacks here, but some really interesting ones. That 1940 Philadelphia, that gorgeous 1955. We got a few other older ones, a 60, a 61, and a couple of 64, I think both Denvers, and this really gorgeous 1986P. Some miscellaneous finds. We got a pretty dirty dime. We got a 1993 that had that really odd edge about it that we looked at, very strange. And a whole bunch of mangled nickels in our very last roll. And in our Canadian finds, we found some nice ones we're going to compare against the album. A really nice 65, a 69. There's a 73, 74, a 77, that's the low 7. And what are those? Some 78, 79, 81s, a couple 81s to look at. Got a couple of nice commemoratives, that 2005 and the 2017. We also found one 1990 that is probably a very early stage bare belly, and that low mintage 1991. And then our other finds, we got a 55, a 56, a couple of 59s to look at, a 63, and a whole stack of 1964s, including a couple of really nice ones on the top. And we're going to take a look in the album and see if we got any additions. We know we needed some 40s and 50s, so we definitely got some 50s. We'll see if they fill any spots. We didn't get any King George VI, but we can't complain with all of these great finds that we got. So let's take a look at the album and see how we did. So after looking through everything that we got in this hunt, I'm really pleased to say that we made some significant progress here. We needed that 55 and that 56, so we filled 2 spots in the album, which is fantastic. And we actually upgraded 2 coins. We upgraded that 1959 with one of the ones that we found. And we also upgraded our 1973 right here, and that was a beauty. So we're up to 82 of 117 spots. Of course, we've got 4 others on this page here, coins that didn't actually have a labeled slot, but are variations, including one of our bare bellies that we've received. And so we are looking really good with this album. So we still need to get some more in the 40s and 50s, and we're hoping in future hunts we're going to be able to fill those slots and have good productive boxes like this one. I also had to fill some of the spots in my US collection with some of the ones that we got today. So that was really exciting. That beautiful 55D, I didn't have a spot for that, or I should say I didn't have that. There was a spot that needed to be filled. I hope you've enjoyed this video of my nickel hunt and album fill. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Cadroll Hunter, please do so now. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.